Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Netta. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some of my favorite eyeshadow palettes of 2019. These are palettes that I felt were just amazing. I found myself using them every day, whether it be for the creativity, the pigmentation, the affordability of the product, the uniqueness of the product, and of course the packaging. I am a sucker for packaging, and so I just wanted to go over that with you guys and show you what is in my collection that I was using like almost every day, or new palettes that have come into my collection that I absolutely love and will be using a lot on this channel. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you, and if you're one of my returning subscribers, welcome back. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So the number one eyeshadow palette that I have been using like crazy this year, on camera, off camera, to work, I could make a really nice soft glam look. I could do a natural glam look with this palette, or I could do really bold glam with this palette. I absolutely love this palette. It was so versatile. I could use it to fill in my brows, and just like, it was the best palette I feel, and I used it literally all year. And that's going to be the Urban Decay Born to Run eyeshadow palette. I mean, this palette is just so wonderful. The color story is, and as you can see, like, it has been so loved. I have used it so much. It was my number one eyeshadow palette this year. I mean, the color story, you've got a matte brown. You actually got two matte browns. This one is one I would use frequently to fill in my brows, to do a smoky eye, to do a soft brown eye. So this got a lot of love. Having a matte brown as well as a matte black, absolutely wonderful. I mean, just with this and that by itself, you know, it's a wonderful thing. You can get so creative. You can do so many different looks with that. And then the color story, you know, you have all these, you have just the right amount of matte shades. You have just the right amount of shimmers, and you can really play in color if you want to. You've got this purple here. You've got some green. You've got some, you know, like orange. It was just a beautiful palette. It was my number one palette. I feel like Urban Decay really missed the mark on this palette. I would have loved to have seen them start a Born to Run, like, household name collection, like, you know, Born to Run Africa, Born to Run UK, Born to Run Australia, because the packaging gives you that, you know, on the go, pick up and go, that person who's on the go theme, and they already have it going for them. And I feel like they could have taken that concept and expanded it. Now, maybe that's what they're doing. That might actually be in the making. Who knows? You know, maybe I have secret information. No, I don't have secret information, but if they are working on that right now, it would not surprise me, because that's how great this eyeshadow palette is, and I feel like that's how great the concept is. I love the theme. It's so unique, and it's, to me, I feel like it was such a nice break from the Naked collection. So Urban Decay Born to Run eyeshadow palette was my number one go-to palette this year. Okay, so next is the Jackie Aina palette. The Jackie Aina Anastasia Beverly Hills palette. This palette, I mean, I feel like this palette, when I look at it, I feel sexy, I feel luxurious, I feel expensive, I feel, you know, it's just, and the packaging is just so beautiful. It just, I don't know, I use this palette some, but the packaging and the beauty of this palette, just how gorgeous this palette is. You can tell that Jackie really put a lot of thought and into this palette, and she really wanted to take her time and curate a palette for us brown skin girls. You know, that was just beautiful, pigmented, and gave you a really nice range of shades. I think I would have liked to see a black matte shade in this palette, but what I'll say is if it's having a black matte shade versus having a brown matte, I'll take a brown matte any day, because you can do so much with a brown matte shade versus black can get a little tricky. It can be messy. You know, there's kind of like a time and a place for a black matte, but a brown matte, you cannot go wrong. And with this color story and the layout of this palette, I can understand why she went with a matte brown versus a matte black. So I get it. And then just the shade names, you know, Dollars and Pinker and Supreme and Shookington and Trust Issues and Edges and Sponsor, you know, Alliteration. You know, I really enjoyed this palette, and it is a little bit used, and the only reason why is not as dug in as my Urban Decay eyeshadow palette is because one, this one is a little bit newer to my collection, but two, is just so beautiful. It was more like a collector's for me, and I didn't want to disturb it too much. It literally sits right here on my desk. In the case that it came with, it literally sits right here, and when I'm filming or going over business plans, you know, brainstorming content, I look at this palette and it just inspires me. You know, Jackie's story, it motivates me, and I'm like, you know, this and the packaging, once again, it's leather. I mean, this was definitely, you know, a close runner up to the Urban Decay Born to Run palette. Like I said, the only reason why I didn't use this palette as much as the Urban Decay Born to Run palette is because I just didn't want to ruin the gorgeousness of this palette. It's like, it's one of those palettes that you look at it and you go, that's mine. Yes, I own that. That's cute. And you don't touch it. And any of you out there who are palette collectors would understand what I mean. This, you know, this palette, mwah, I love it. Absolutely gorgeous. The next eyeshadow palette, that was one of my favorites this year, was the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde eyeshadow palette. And the reason why is because this palette was so unique to anything I have ever seen on the market this year. It was so unique. The packaging, beautiful as you can see, and then the color story. The color story of this packaging. I mean, look at that. You have not seen anything like this on the market today. And this palette has been loved a lot. As you can see, I've dug into this palette so much because I love it so much. It inspires my creative side because the typical everyday girl in me is pretty basic. You know, I like browns, I like neutrals, I like soft glam looks and, you know, natural everyday wearable makeup, versus this palette helped me to step outside of my comfort zone, to get creative, to explore colors, to play with glitter and shimmer a little bit more often. And it still gives you the ability to make looks that are soft glam and everyday looks. So I feel like Huda did a really good job with this palette. The only shade in this palette that I did not care for is this shade here. Please excuse my nails, guys, but this shade here, and that shade is Haze. I didn't like it as much as the other shades because I felt like Haze was not as well formulated. It wasn't as good of a quality as some of the other matte shades in here. To me, Haze was a little bit chalky. It was a pretty chalky shade, so I didn't really use it a lot You know, maybe it would be a good shade to blend into the crease if you're gonna get really bold. But other than that, I felt it was a little chalky, so I didn't play it in much. But every other shade in its palette, I absolutely love and have dug into. And so the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette, I love it for its packaging, I love it for its design, and I love it for its uniqueness of this year. All right, so next eyeshadow palette, the one I fell in love with, speaking of Huda Beauty, is the perfect dupe. I've mentioned this before. For the Huda Beauty New News eyeshadow palette is the Makeup Revolution Pro New Neutrals palette. I love this palette for its packaging. It's so cute. I am a big sucker for packaging, okay? Packaging and quality will get me a whole lot better than a price point will. I'm willing to spend more money on a product if it has really good quality and really good packaging. If it has good quality and sucky packaging, I'm not gonna buy it because I really am a visual person. I like to look at my makeup collection and feel good about it and, you know, feel a certain type of way. So packaging really is a big deal to me. And this packaging is really cute. It has a lot of really nice neutral shades in here. It's got some pressed glitters, it's got some shimmers, and a really nice range of matte shades and neutral shades that complement my skin tone really well. And so I really like this palette for that reason. As an everyday palette, you know, when you want that neutral look, you know, a soft glam look, or even if you wanted something a little bit more bold, I just really loved it. It's so gorgeous. And once again, it was $20. I paid $20 for this palette. It comes with a really nice mirror here, and you get a beautiful shade. And this here zoned is a really nice matte brown shade as well. I mean, you have everything you need to create neutral looks with this palette. And for 20 bucks, you can't go wrong. It's stunning, it's gorgeous. So this one was a favorite of mine. Okay, so coming to a palette, I have been looking and wanting all year for a palette that was really, really colorful, that I could play with. You know, the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette really inspired a more creative side of me, but the shade range was still a little bit softer. It was more like glitz and glamour, but I wanted something with bold color, reds and blues and yellows and greens and neons. And for me, the palette that did that was the Patricia Bright Makeup Revolution collaboration palette, especially the one rich in color. This one is the one rich in color. This palette, I love this palette. When I swatched it and reviewed it, I thought it was amazing. The colors are pigmented. They're so pigmented, and to be honest, the pink matte shade that I was wearing actually stained my eyes a little bit. So you do want to make sure that you use a really good makeup removing wipe to get this eyeshadow off, but that just tells you about the quality of the eyeshadows. They're so highly pigmented. You don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. So that means it's going to last you for a very, very, very long time. And the packaging is something that I absolutely love. Which is another reason also why I really like the Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette, because it's not that paper cardboard. You can keep this clean pretty well. You know, you can clean that up, and I like this because it's the metal tin. You can keep it clean. It's durable. You can travel with it, and it has this huge mirror here, which is great because I can just have this eyeshadow palette here as a desk mirror or a mirror on my vanity, and I can use it to not only do my eyeshadow but do all of my makeup. So I actually really love that. And then the color story, I mean wow, just wow. It's a beautiful, brilliant, vibrant, bright eyeshadow palette. And it was literally everything I was looking for. I've got yellows, I've got browns, I've got glitter, I've got shimmer, I've got mattes, I've got purple and pink and red and blue and green. And neon green and just everything. I've got enough mattes in here where I can make an everyday, you know, look. With these matte browns here, I can go everyday look. That one too. I've got enough colors in here to play with to get as creative as I want. I really like this orangey color here. So I just feel like for my side that wanted to dive into colors more often and really step outside of my comfort box, this palette did it. And for $25, I think $25 is a steal. I mean, you get 28 eyeshadow shades in here. Each shade is extremely pigmented. The packaging is durable. You can keep it clean. It's gonna last. You can travel with it. You know it's not gonna go anywhere. You get a huge mirror. The packaging just looks so classy and sophisticated. For 25 bucks, I mean, just genius. You know, Patricia did such a good job with this eyeshadow palette. I loved it. And then of course the Rich in Life eyeshadow palette was a beautiful palette too. Okay, and then last but not least, Charlotte Tilbury. I feel like Charlotte Tilbury is a brand that I just love all of her products. Charlotte Tilbury is a genius when it comes to the makeup game. The woman knows what she's doing. She crafts products that are so amazing and feel really nice on the skin. And I don't know how she does it. That Hollywood Flawless filter, to this day, I'm still not really sure if that is a foundation, a highlighter, I don't know, but a primer, I don't know, but it's really great. So all of the luxury palettes from Charlotte Tilbury, all of them, this is the only one I have right now. I do plan on actually expanding my collection and getting all of them. They're in my Sephora shopping cart right now, and I can't wait to press that checkout button, honey. But yes, I feel like these little 4-pan eyeshadows are so beautiful. And as you can see, I have dug into this. This was definitely a go-to palette for me this year. Absolutely love it. The packaging is it's very sophisticated, very classy in your, you know, in your typical Charlotte Tilbury style. This is what we've come to expect from Charlotte Tilbury. We know her products are gonna come through. It's not a question about it. The packaging, beautiful. The eyeshadows work. They work really well on my skin tone, and it's just, you know, these are so nice for if you're on the go and you want to do your makeup really quick. You can, you know, you can just rub into these shades really quickly, and then, you know, just pop, and then be out the door. And it's really that fast. So the luxury palettes from Charlotte Tilbury, and really any of the palettes from Charlotte Tilbury, are definitely my favorite. So that's it for today's video, guys. Those are my favorite eyeshadow palettes of 2019. Please comment below and let me know what eyeshadow palettes you're loving this year, and they're gonna make it into 2020 with you. And I might be missing some, so let me know which ones you'd like me to try. If you know you have some in your collection that you think I should check out. And I will see you in the next video. Mwah. Bye.